Okay, guys, here we go again. Ooh. Oh, that was scary. Banners. This was really. Oh, yeah. I forgot that. Let's see. Pin message. Welcome back, guys. Sorry about that. That is the first time that happens to me. Oh boy. Ooh, that puts you on edge. Definitely.
So we're back. This will be one to this will be one to remember for the archives. Sorry, kids.
I deleted that one totally.
All right. So yeah, I'd be concerned about your account there and start changing passwords and stuff.
Yeah, I might do that.
Anyway.
Yeah. Will do. The missus says you have a wonderful laugh, so.
So. Yeah, so where were we? Right, so we're talking about the diversification of your preps.
Yeah.
So yeah, have a variety of things. You know, people will start dropping back into this. I think.
Yeah, that's
we
good.
lost Thor and stuff like that, but
yeah,
yes.
but they join probably later.
Yeah, a diversity of preps. So you got your free dried, your canned goods, your wet food pouches, and something Uncle Al actually came up with a good idea is I'm Firehorse. How you doing? Yeah, good to see you again.
Welcome back, Brian Firehorse.
Is to have a he had one of these bug out trolleys, one of these carts, like luggage with wheels on, and he had it full of dehydrated food with like rice that you add water into and all these other types of foods, which is you can fit a lot in there. It's lightweight, and you can just pull it, and away you go. You can even go into a hotel room, pop out a portable cooker. All you need is water then, and away you go. So that's a good the thing. But diversification of foods, types of foods, variation of foods is the way to go. Yeah, so look at what you eat on a daily basis. Try and substitute that with cans. That's if you want to go down the can route, tin cans, that is, because they're one of the most robust food sources you can get. And then look at well, what I do is I try and think to myself, well, I'll split it down to 7 different types of menu. So you've got 1 can. This is for 2 people. It's 1 can, 1 can of veg, 1 can of potatoes, say, and some sauce to go on top of it. You know, so you're looking at 3, maybe 4 cans of food for 1 day, and then start times that by 7, times that by the month, and then times that by however long you want to keep your food for. Yeah, Thor would need a toboggan up there, or Polk, or some sort of wheel cart. Depends on what time of the year it is, because it snows and stuff like that. Yeah, definitely. So, stepping up the your preps will probably only be a realization when you start to log your preps, accounting them, and seeing what you've got there and splitting them down there and dividing it up into actual eatable meals. It's all too easy to just store 50 cans of beans, 50 cans of sausages, a load of rice, but it's putting it all together for something edible and enjoyable, which is the key thing. But not only that, you know, you want it to be you want it to be healthy as well, because if you're then starting to your body might get run down, you want to maintain your internal vitamin supply, if you see what I mean. You might even want to buy some vitamins as well to go with it to bolster up your your foodstuffs. And then from there, you can also get it. So you've got your base preps. Then you're starting to gradually accumulate, dried fruit as well. Lissolette. You're gradually starting to upgrade your preps. Then you can start looking at maybe being a bit more specific as to what you're prepping for. So if you're probably the hardest one to prep for would be just a complete blackout, because then you're prepping for everything. Then the easiest one to probably prep for would be a specific thing like a flood, something which you know is going to be short term, and you know you've got to get specific items for that threat. So even though they're not very good, you might want to get sandbags, some sort of flood defense system, relocation upstairs if you can, and that sort of thing. So you want to might get yourself into a mindset of being a bit more threat specific, depending on your scenario, you know. But there are, as far as base preps go, there are things that you can get that will cater for most preps, most events, like clothing, food, water, power, a power source, and things like this. Yeah, and Iron Firehorse says there, you know, you got to factor in how much fuel you need, just like your food. Look at start analyzing then your fuel supply, your generator supply. Have you got enough fuel for it, for starters? Have you got enough fuel filters for it? Have you got enough oil to do the oil changes at the scheduled times? Have you got anywhere to dump the oil when you've used it? And I wouldn't even dump it either. I'd put it into another container to reuse it, because nothing is single use in SHTF. Everything will have a subsequent use, and even oil will have a subsequent use too. You know, you can use it for lubricating other things, cogs, wheels, and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You might even have a used fuel burner as well, which is a useful device. It's a heater which runs off of used oil. They can get quite expensive, but once you've got it, it's a really good, valuable source of heat. You can also cook with it as well. I've seen a couple of them, and they range in size, but they do start off quite expensive. But once you've got that, you know, and you have to go hunting or scrounging or on the forage for fuel, then forget the logs, forget the coal, forget the electricity. All you need is any vehicle. Get the oil out of that vehicle, and that's your fuel source then. So another sort of thing to look at. And then you can look at, you know, you take the medical side of it. Everyone should have a first aid kit to survive the initial impact event or the initial stages. Just see what Iron Firehorse says. And remember, pasta gets old. It's okay to eat, but it takes longer to cook, so use more fuel or energy. Right? Yep. I proved that back when I was.
I didn't know that, but thanks for the tip. I'll try to remember that one.
I've got pasta which is 4 years out of date now, and it's still the only thing I notice about old pasta. I haven't really noticed the fuel scenario that it cooks longer. I've noticed it gets a lot more crumblier as well when it starts getting knocked around in the bag. You're seeing white sort of marks appearing on the actual pasta itself. Anyway, so yeah, if you're like, you know, likewise your medical stuff, everyone's got a first aid kit. Start looking at a third line med kit. So an extra box which you're using it for medication storage, wound cleansing, wound management, changing dressings, and stuff like that, and all your pills. You might even have antibiotics. You might have potassium iodide tablets, things like this. That extra leap and enhancement that will take you that step further, basically. That step further in time as well. So you're not talking about just a one-off use. Because how many people's first aid kits after one injury will last them anymore? You know, you might have 3 or 4 bandages will treat 3 or 4 people. After that, they've run out of supplies. They'll have to start recycling the bandages they've used, and boiling them again, and washing them, and starting to re-sanitize the items they've just used. And it's not good when you know beforehand you could have done something about it, and you could have got either more equipment or another way of cleansing that equipment. So yeah. So your core preps, the management of it is key, because you don't want to, if possible, you don't want to start keeping things which are out of date. You want to use them by the out of date marker, because you want to hit the ground running on day one of SHTF or day one of the event that you've prepped for, with everything as fresh as possible, and everything with as long as a longer run out date as possible.
Sorry, that was my phone.
I thought we were back to that other scenario. So yeah, you see what I mean? You want to hit the ground running on day one of SHTF, whatever the event is, with as precious preps as possible. So you want everything as, because people will start looking at preps on day one, they'll think, right, when does all this run out? You don't want to be in a position where a 3-month run out date has expired already. Although it still could be viable to eat or take in pill form, yeah, fine, but you want to make it last as long as possible. And if it's medication, for instance, and you don't know when the event's going to finish, then all the better. Time will be your friend or your enemy. What have we got here? So yeah, first line, second line, third line preps of a layered system.
Welcome, Alex.
Alex, Jonah, TV, good to see you.
How are you doing? Merry Christmas to you.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, everyone out there. A couple more sleeps to go. Hope everyone's finished their Christmas shopping. It's I went out there today, and it's absolute bedlam out there. Everybody has finished work now. Everyone's hitting the shops. Silly season's kicked in big time.
Hey, Hendo, good to see you.
Hey, Hendo. Traffic is all-time high because everybody's out there. Everyone's out there doing last-minute shopping, and all the craziness kicks in where people's fuses are running short. It can be frustrating. So, hope everyone is ready now. So, is anyone all prepped for Christmas then? Yeah.
Not much actually for Christmas, but busy at work, so you don't have that much
have
time.
you finished? Are you finished work now?
Yeah, I work half day today, so.
Right, good. So today seems to be the day where everyone finishes. Schools finish. Some schools finished earlier on in the week, but yeah.
Yeah.
And is it Christmas yet? So we can tuck into all the things we bought. Otherwise, people bought piles of chocolate, piles of meat, piles of food, piles of this, piles of that, and you save it up for a couple of days, and you all of a sudden consume all this stuff on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. And by the time Boxing Day comes around, everyone's sick of it.
Yeah.
And the January sales kick in. Well, it's not much.
The only thing, the only thing I have done is I begin to marinate the salmon, so it's in the fridge for until Sunday.
Oh, right. So are you having salmon for Christmas
ready
dinner?
to eat.
So you got salmon for Christmas dinner. Is that what you normally do in Sweden?
Yeah, we marinate salmon. It's a mix of salt and sugar and dill and white pepper.
Right. We've me and the wife are having chicken tikka masala this year for Christmas dinner. Well, we've thought about just getting a pizza in because we just can't be, just make it simple. There's no kids knocking around, so why go to a load of trauma and effort and time in that? But yeah, so once you got your, I think your preps, especially your core base preps, definitely. Yellow Shirt Dad, hello.
Hey, Yellow Shirt Dad, good to see you, brother.
Your core preps definitely need to be managed well. When we talk about management, I think in terms of regular check-in for the dates. Like I said, you don't want to hit the ground running with everything over or out of date. You want to look at good rotation methods. You want to look at a system or a way of checking things that start to degrade. So I think of the run-out dates, the integrity of the packaging, and any sort of disintegration or degradation of the packaging as well. You might start to see rust spots on tins or mold spots on various other items. Check the lids on your jars, press them in. They shouldn't depress, otherwise they've been compromised. And have a good rotation system. But also keep in mind the meal plans that you've got to make from all this stuff. So like I said, it's all right having cans, jars, buckets full of beans, buckets full of rice, but
yeah,
it's not going to be a very a nice existence just eating those. It's going to be really bland. You want some variety. Have some treats in there. You know, get your chocolate in there, get your sweets in there, because it's not. It's also sugar is so addictive that it could become a good, not only a bartering item, but it's if you got kids, it will keep them happy for treats and stuff like this, and a temporary sort of fix for them
yeah.
as well.
I
It's also
agree. Sugar is really addictive, and
yeah,
that well, as soon as you get addicted to it, it's really a nightmare to get rid of that addiction.
well, there's nothing. I've got a real sweet tooth, and I take the advantage of Halloween when they're selling all these big tubs of sweets off, chewy jelly sweets and stuff like that. I always buy some of those, put them in my preps because they're cheap and cheerful, and you can. It's just I find it's a good morale boost anyway, regardless of the health aspects of it. And if you got kids as well, it's it can shut your kids up. If something's happened when your kids are shouting and screaming or they're crying and stuff like that because they've just gone through the trauma of whatever disaster you've been in, throw them some sweets, it will alleviate, or it could provide a distraction method. And particularly, I thought of this when I was buying it when I was getting my preps was every deployment I went on in the army from Bosnia, Kosovo, Sierra Leone, Iraq, Afghanistan, Central America, all the kids always wanted sweets or biscuits. That's the one
Yeah,
thing in common they all begged for. So if you've got kids and that, don't forget the chocolate, don't forget the sweets.
yeah, and hot chocolate is when you have, especially when you have kids, and as adult as well. It's nice to have hot chocolate, especially when it's cold outside. At winter
Yeah,
time, it's nice to have a cup of hot chocolate.
yeah, definitely. And everyone's got their own little favourites. It could be coffee, could be chocolate, could be cigarettes.
Yeah,
And if you smoke, good luck, 'cause there's nothing worse than going without a cigarette or a fag, as we like to call them over here. I know the Americans find that funny. We call cigarettes fags. And yeah, so yeah, so I bought a box of 100 Halloween chocolate bars and threw them in the oven to hide them temporarily and forgot. Thank goodness I had a cake pan in there, and that's what I threw them in. Right. Well, yeah, because if you buy chocolate, you could also make other things with basic chocolate bars as well, even the cheap
yeah,
chocolate.
snuff. Yeah,
And then don't forget your pets.
yeah, pets. Yeah, pets need their food too, and water.
And upgrading your preps, your base preps. Um, the thing is with preps is, it can be good to look at your preps in different layers. Your core, your base preps, and then going out to the more elaborate ones, which aren't essential but are good to have, like a radio, comms, for instance. Walkie talkies and stuff like that, or a ham radio. They're not essential to life, but they're good to have for intelligence, information gathering, stuff like that.
Yeah,
And the thing is with your prep, when I say keep them multi-layered, have your preps in places where you know where they are. It can get to the point where you've got so many preps, you covered all the bases, and they might not be all in. You might be using some of those preps. You might be using the spade in the garden. That's your shovel. You might be using your soldering iron, and that's in the bedroom upstairs. All this sorts of stuff. Hey, Daryl, love survival.
Hey, Columbia fan, good to see you. Daryl
Columbia
of
fan
Survival,
Daryl.
good to see you.
So your preps, if you've got your core preps, I would suggest putting them and make them the preps that are the most accountable. You've inventoried them, you know exactly where they are. That you could have them in, say, a bunch of plastic waterproof boxes stacked up and labeled. Fine, that's your base preps.
Yeah.
Everything else, it can get to the point where you've got so many preps you don't know where they are. And I've been in this situation where.
Hey, Joe, good to see you. Grow Big TV.
Hello, Gro.
Merry Christmas.
I've been in this situation where you want something, you can't find it, and then 2 or 3 months later, you realise where it is because it's amongst other stuff. You know, that's all too easy to do, and that's quite easy to do, especially when you have upgraded your gear. What do you do with the old gear? You know, it'll be a standby.
Yeah.
So some sort of storage system and central place where you can have your core preps. And it, you know, it could be anything from a bunker, a cellar, an attic, a dedicated room, a corner of a room, a vehicle, whatever. It depends on your scenario, but make sure you've done that. And I do that especially with tools, screws, nails, power tools, you know, screwdrivers, and you know, it's all too easy to forget where they are, and yeah, you just lose them, and you think you've lost them. Sometimes you go out and buy another one, you realise you've actually got one when you get back. Zion Firehorse said, I screwed up. I forgot my 2 EpiPens were in my glove box and they froze. Right. See, medication, essential medication like EpiPens, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't rely on them, so I don't know how many you would need or anything like that. So I don't even know if how much of a supply you can actually keep. Must be through a prescription sort of method. When it comes to prescription medication, in most cases over here, you can gradually build up a good stockpile. They do, you know, and the ones you don't use, keep them, even if they are out of date, because any medication, I'll correct that, a lot of medication can still be used when it's out of date. There are various exceptions, and if in doubt, check, because some medications like aspirin, for instance, are seriously bad and toxic when they go out of date. So that's all part of your prep management and part of your checks. Dates, integrity, degradation of packaging. Look where you're storing your preps, especially your base preps, your core preps that you're going to fall back to if everything goes, you know, out the window. Definitely. Daryl says, can you do a video on window breakers? Most of them are no good. Right. Daryl, if you if you organise a private chat with me at some point, I've got some real good window breakers to show you. That's all I say on that one, but they're excellent, cheap, and very good. Yeah. Right. So Iron Firehorse said old vitamins can destroy your kidneys. So yeah, you know, you want to hit the ground running with as much in-date gear and stuff as possible. Obviously, we talked about boots and shoes. You want them broken in, and you want to use stuff and tools, other items that work. No use having a load of knives, a load of bolt croppers, tools, wrenches, spanners that are in a nice shiny box, but they're not really up to the purpose. So get the stuff out, get using it. Even your food, eat the stuff, rotate through it, so you know what it is you're eating, what effect it has on your system, and long-term effects as well. So, for instance, some of these food pouches, wet food pouches, like the boil in the bags, they were all based around army ration packs from the late mid-90s and so on like that. Military, I'll speak about the British Army now. There's various types of rations, Arctic rations, which were dehydrated, and the temperate ones. The temperate ones were boiling the bag rations. They were only designed to be eaten for no more than 3 months because of potential side effects that they give you. And the side effects they give you, I think they bung you up, basically. They constipate you.
And that is not fun.
No. So you don't want to rely, this is what I said, you don't want to rely on, don't go down a route of one type of food stuff. No, don't just have dehydrated, don't just have your wet food pouches, don't just have your freeze-dried. Have a combination, say, more robust.
Canned fish, canned meat, canned veggies.
Yeah, exactly. And some of this boil in the bag food, what they were designed for, they were basically designed for a week, really. And if you're on those rations for a week, you're then supposed to get supplementary rations to support your food. And that was supposed to be in forms of bread, eggs, and all this other stuff, fresh food.
Hey, Jana. Alex, Jana.
You're muted at the moment.
Good to see you.
Hello.
Yeah, that might be very correct.
Yeah, so after a week, these wet food pouches were supposed to be supplemented by fresh food to avoid any sort of adverse effects of constipation. And anyone who knows they've gone on exercise for a week, living on these wet food pouches, the boil in the bag stuff, as soon as they get back off exercise, the first fresh food they eat, straight to the toilet, and you'll sit on the toilet for an hour or two. So that's one of the adverse effects of one type of food. And a lot of these foods now, the boil in the bag foods, are made by the same company that supplies the British Army, for instance. So they're the same stuff. And you find them in camping shops. They're relatively cheap, depending on where you go. And you can go down that road of constipation stuff. So beware, folks.
No.
Other things like I haven't really delved into the freeze-dried food source much, but I hear that they're quite high in sodium, and the quality varies. And the thing that I don't really like about these freeze-dried food buckets that last supposedly up to 25 years if stored correctly is that if you get a load of freeze-dried food in your buckets and you've got a big rack full of stuff, and anything happens, you start tucking into it, you don't really know the viability of that food until you open that bucket. And if it's And because they're quite big buckets with quite a lot of servings in each bucket, if you get one that's been contaminated or compromised or anything like this, you're stuck with it. That's it. You either eat it or throw it or feed it to animals.
Technical difficulties. It's
Right.
not on my side, not on your side either. I think it's on Alex's side.
Yeah. Okay. Well, she's here in spirit. So,
Yeah,
Mountain, yeah, Daryl loves some over there. Says Mountain Warehouse are okay, but very salty, and some do not taste great. Yeah, a lot of people also are not used to eating this stuff. You know, if you get a family who just splashed out a couple of £100 or dollars or thousands of dollars on a load of freeze-dried food buckets, and they're not used to eating them, for
yeah,
their first week, they'll soon find out that the amount of water they need is quite a lot. And most people who start off eating this stuff, they don't put enough water in, and they eat it before it's actually too ready. So they're actually eating some stuff that's still absorbing water as you're eating it. So it will suck a lot more water out of you than you think. Yeah, Dural says right. So Alex has got a slow connection. No
yeah,
worries, no
yeah.
worries, Alex. Yeah. So yeah,
No
Dural
problem.
says I make my own food buckets. So that's a good way to go. You know what's going in there. You don't even have to have a bucket full of freeze-dried food. You can have a bucket full of rice pouches. You can have some tins in your buckets, and the
Yeah,
buckets can be used for a convenient means to just move around loads of food as well. They don't have to be stored directly in the buckets either. Yeah, I found Mountain House is very expensive, and you can't even get Mountain House here anymore in Britain. They've changed the name. Can't remember what name it is, but they changed the name of it over here. You don't see the Mountain House brand here as much, and if you do, it's probably on the verge of it expiring anyway. Yeah, one thing I found out through speaking to various people during lockdown, for instance, was that their preps that they thought would sustain them for 3, 4, 5, 6 months
yeah,
didn't. They vastly underestimated what they actually needed and stored. So, I mean, me for instance, I had 6 months of supplies, everything, at the start of lockdown, and during sort of month 4, shopping didn't stop during lockdown. There was deliveries and that sort of stuff. We could go to stores. Everyone knows this. But what I found is I was trying to get a good estimation of what my preps would last, and I found that I was a month short in my estimation. So my 6 months would have lasted me 5 months of normal eating just of those preps. So when people look at their base preps, it's why I say management is important, because you can then split down your meals and get a much better idea of how long they're going to last. So that's a key aspect. That is, I suppose it's
yeah,
better to overestimate than underestimate, but it all comes down to, at the end of the day, really, it all comes down to money. Like I say, because it's not cheap. You're basically buying, more than you're budgeting just to live and survive on every week anyway. And you don't want to start buying all this elaborate gear if you don't really need it. Just keep it basic, keep it simple, but keep it realistic in terms of you can actually eat it when when you have to eat it. And when it comes to
yeah,
any sort of, and then when you look at the bigger picture, then you got a supply of food and water, and you got a power source, you got a heating source in your house. Start then looking at the bigger picture in terms of, you're going to have to move. Can you move this your supplies Are you going to move on foot, which is, some say it's highly unlikely. Some say that's the only way to do it.
Yeah.
Are you going to just jump in your car and go and load the car up, go around to a friend's house, go to a motel, go to a community centre, which doubles up as an emergency shelter? It's a lot to think about. But if you look at the bigger picture like that and think, am I going to have to move, depending on the event, then you can start looking at the mobility of your base preps. Can they be moved? Do I need this? Do I need that? And if you do it this way, then you can look at the money side of things, and you won't overspend as much. A lot of these, there's a lot of videos out there, particularly on YouTube, which a lot of people get their information from when it comes to prepping, that just, that they overemphasize all the high-end gear, and it gives people a false impression, because when they start thinking about, oh, I've got to, there's a volcano problem, I better start thinking about what
Yeah.
I'm going to do to prep for it. And they start going out and thinking, well, what do I need? So I'll look at YouTube. You look at YouTube, they're thinking, oh, I've got to buy that torch flashlight, which cost hundreds of dollars. They got to buy this radio, which costs hundreds of dollars. They got to buy all this expensive freeze-dried food. It's just, most of it, that's not a good way to approach things. You can do it quite easily, quite cheaply. And unfortunately, the channels that tell you the real valuable information, they don't get this much the exposure, really, and they don't get the hits that people want, the actual information they need to see. A lot of big channels out there, all they're interested in is selling you things, or accumulating hits and views, or using their channel as a big advert for their own store, and so on. So just beware of that. And Discord is a good way to go, because you're talking to real people on the chat room type
Yeah.
of scenario. So, and Daryl says, anyone got a prepper horror story, something that you bought that was crap, right? So this is what we are talking about earlier, the successes and failures of stuff that you bought. I've got a good one. I have. A couple of years ago now, I ordered a gas bottle, and it was for the van. So I wanted 2 gas bottles. I already had one. And the gas bottle I had, normal sort of use for the last 2 weeks. I wanted another one to give me a month's capability. And it was a 907 gas bottle, color gas, some little blue bottles. So I went online. eBay was the cheapest place I could find this gas bottle, because, when it comes to gas and gas bottles, what's the difference between a cheap gas bottle and an expensive one? They're both in the same container. The gas ain't going to be any better quality. So fine. So I ordered this gas bottle. When it actually came, the postman turned up and he gave us this little tiny package. I mean, the gas bottle was supposed to be, imagine a bowling ball in a box. That's the type of size box I was expecting. What I actually got was a box the size of a coffee mug, slightly bigger. I thought, what's this? It's got my name on it. So I opened it up, and it was this little miniature gas bottle, for an Action Man type thing. I thought, hey. So I went on eBay and looked at the site that I was looking on initially, and what I'd actually ordered. That for a start off, the picture didn't have anything else against it for scale. It was just like a gas bottle on a white background. And instead of ordering a 907 gas bottle, what I had actually ordered was a 901 gas bottle, but the 1 looked like a 7 in the eBay description picture. And the difference between a 901 and a 907 was the bowling ball size and the coffee cup size. And that was my biggest fail of a couple of years ago. Yeah, that was absolute crap. Foldable gas bottle, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
if there is foldable gas bottles, and if you manage to invent something like that, you would be a billionaire by now.
yeah. What's another failure I had were this year? I had a Rescue Me glass breaker tool. Yeah, the real Rescue Me glass breaker tool. £15 or something like that. Everyone's seen them. The little tiny red, blue, yellow type things. You push against the glass, it smashes the window. If you're trapped in a
Yeah,
vehicle, it's got a seatbelt cutter attached to it. Everyone knows what I'm talking
yeah,
about. Anyway, um, this year I just took it out of my pocket one day, and the actual spring inside it wasn't working anymore. So it didn't, it was useless as a grass breaker then. So basically, all I had was a seatbelt cutter. So I was a bit disappointed about that because I'd expected that, what could go wrong with the Rescue Me tool, but it just, I must have dropped it or something, or sat on it or whatever. But the spring went on it and it was useless. So I've got something better now. What else? Torches. When it comes to torches, there are some very expensive torches out there, and some very cheap torches out there. I've bought some very cheap torches out there which outperform the expensive ones, and they're super good. £20 worth torch, super bright. Uh, the same sort of functionality as one of these high-end ones which cost £200. So people got to pick wisely. That was
yeah,
a couple of successes. I haven't had much success with batteries really. AA, AAA. I did have loads of 500 AA, AAA batteries, and then I didn't really use much of them. And in storage, the years kept creeping on, and then you found out that they're starting to go out of date. So I went down the rechargeable battery route, and I find the rechargeable battery route, all rechargeable batteries, AA, AAA, are at 1.2 volts. So they don't give you as much oomph as a standard non-rechargeable battery at 1.5 volts, but obviously you recharge them and you can cycle through them over and over again. And all the ones I've found, I've tried various different types, and I've gone onto the white inner loop rechargeable batteries from Amazon. After 2 years, you just don't seem to, they don't perform very well. You charge them up, and the lifespan of the battery with the charge in it, supplying the power, doesn't last as good, 75% as it was when you bought it new. But I suppose you can't have everything. Other fails I've had. I carry a water to go water bottle, and if people don't know what a water to go water bottle is, you can just Google it. Water to go. It's got an internal filter on it, and you can take water from any source really, and instantly fresh water. Anyway, the only problem with these water bottles is they're plastic, and I dropped mine on the floor. It was about 5 years old, and it just split, and that was it. The whole thing was pretty much useless. I got in contact with the company and said, is there any chance in the future you're thinking about making these bottles in a metal container? And they said no, they're going to start making them out of, I think he said coconut. It was some plant-based bottle, really.
okay,
So, that was another one. But yeah, core preps, um, batteries. Batteries are a core prep. Your cars, they supply your radios, your torches, and you have communication device you got, and the alarm system you got, portable alarm system, and the universal basically. But so, like I said, I tend to now go towards rechargeable inner loop batteries, but I try and get the best and the high capacity ones I can. They're a decent, and in hand in hand with that, a decent battery charger.
Yeah.
So a battery charger that takes any other battery as well as inner loop batteries, because some can be inner loops Panasonic, and they tend to go a bit funny if you put another brand of battery in it. It just doesn't like to charge those, so beware of that one.
Yeah.
But I also like to pick my batteries and chargers that can plug in direct to my solar panel as well.
Yeah. I can't say I have any failures when it comes to my preps. Well, you remember this little flashlight?
Yeah, good little thing that.
Yeah, I had this since September 5th, and I have used this more or less every day, and it works perfectly. And it
Good.
was cheap. So for a cheap lamp, flashlight,
So that's 10 out
it
of 10,
held
is
up
it?
very well.
Is that a 10 out of 10 for that one then?
This is a bright little one.
Right. Yep. Have you used the police flashing light function?
There you go.
Yeah. Good little torches. Then, in fact, I might even look at getting some of those as part with my Christmas money.
Yeah. And I got this from Temu, and I never had any problems with this little flashlight. Works flawlessly.
You keep it on
And I
your
have
keychain. Yeah?
yeah.
Good.
When I'm at work, I always have this with me because it's nice to have.
Yeah.
I have I have another type of little flashlight. This one,
right.
I have one of these on my keychain as well.
Yeah.
But the problem is you need to keep the button pushed down all the time.
Yeah. Right.
So
they're good for little tasks where you just need quick light.
yeah, in
Getting
this
a key
one,
in the door.
this one is much better. So it's nice to have two different on the keychain.
Yeah. Good. I got.
So I'm very happy with this little flashlight, actually.
Good. And that's the sort of review you need. You see, you need to get an honest review from someone that's been using it for a couple of months, not someone who's just bought it and then trying to sell it on video. So yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So I'm very happy with that little one. It comes in handy and cheap, so
Yeah.
I can't complain. So that was a really good buy, actually. I thought that would be just crap, but it is not. It's really good quality, and I recharged it. I don't know how many times, and it still works flawlessly.
Good.
And it's recharged very quick too, so that's really nice too. You don't need to wait an hour before that one is fully charged.
Yeah.
10-15 minutes tops.
Storms, radios, and cats. They finally
Storms,
caught you on a
radios, and
live.
cats. Good to see you. Yeah. It's good to see you, brother. Sandy says it's illegal to make any device to make electricity in the river with hair. Yeah.
Yeah, I think same
Bikes
over here.
dynamos.
It's not legal over here, but you need some sort of permission. I think it starts off with like planning permission and stuff like that. Water generation, electricity generation through hydro can be a bit complex. It's a bit of it's not like solar. You can't just throw things up and let the sun work. When it comes to a water wheel type stuff or water generation, hydro, there's a couple of some equations involved and stuff like that, and your electricity dumps. The real. So I have a cheap flashlight, Ultrafire Cree. I've had it for over 7 years and it worked great. Right, that reminds me of that. I've got a Through Night TI4, I think it is. They're excellent, really good little flashlight, strobe effects and everything. One AAA battery, brilliant. I'd give that 9 out of 10. Yeah, Swiss Army knife, Swiss Army knife champ. That's another good buy a couple of years ago. 9 out of 10 for that. Use it all the time. Legal to carry, etc., etc. Excellent. So yeah, if anyone's got any any recommendations for any gear or anything, put in the comments. We were originally talking about base preps.
Stepping up the base preps.
Stepping up your base preps, going to the next level, leveling up your preps. Gradually increasing the quality of your preps, management of your preps, storage, and so on and so on. Looking at what you're actually eating, variety of what you're eating, spicing it up, comfort food, water. Look at water in your containers. Are they viable? Are they going to be robust enough to last? Are they going to be robust enough to last not only the duration sat on the floor, but transferring water to containers and back and forth and refilling and putting them in and out of vehicles and humping and dumping? That's a key thing to consider. And generators and things like that. You've got to have the ability to service the generator, spare oil, filters, enough fuel for the generator. Have you timed? Have you taken into account how much fuel you need in terms of how long you're going to run the generator for? It can be okay just getting a generator with all the spare bits and bobs and spare parts. And if you got 60, you say, I'll fill up my 60 litres of diesel for the generator. How long is that 60 litres going to last? How long? What are you going to use the generator for? Are you going to use it for charging batteries, heating water, supplying your lights? So, I'd suggest that if you're using a generator for your lights, you're probably misusing the generator. It's a bit of a waste of resources there because you're using a lot of fuel, a lot of oil, and a lot of time and effort in terms of servicing the generator and later on just to power some lights, when you can power those lights through some sort of easy solar solution.
Yeah.
And
so if you use the generator to heat your house up, or that's a different story.
Yeah, I've thought about this, and I would say a generator would be used for me for hot water, charging batteries, essential devices, as a backup to solar. And if it comes to it, and if you've got enough fuel, powering your fridge or freezer. Good. So going back to your core base preps, you've also got to consider your core and base equipment as well. So your fridge and freezer. They're probably one of the key items that you've got to keep going. And if you're using one of these what they call the little inverter generated things with a built-in battery. Not like the Bluetti thing. What are they called? The word escapes me. I'll have to Google it.
Yeah, well, sometimes you need to Google something to find out one.
Portable power
Find the-
station. No, there we go.
Yeah,
So yeah, if you know, so I've spoken to this to a couple of people now, a couple of friends, and they've asked me questions and so on about they're running there and buying a portable power station and running their fridge or freezer. I said to them, well, your fridge or freezer in a sort of low key event, power blackout or whatever, is probably going to be the key item you want to keep going. Forget your lights. You can run your lights off candles if need be, or solar powered lights. That's not an issue. But your food, frozen food, preservation of food is going to be key. And unless you're got some sort of meat curer, drying curer, smokehouse, or you're prepared to start salting all your food, however you're going to do that, then you're going to be, modern day invention, which everyone relies on. It's a key aspect that people forget is your fridge, your freezer, basically. It's okay in the cold winter months, but in summer months and stuff, your freezer is a key element. And all your food, viable food, your meat sources that aren't canned, aren't dried, aren't freeze dried, is going to be in that freezer. How are you going to power that? So, as a core prep goes, base prep goes, that is a key, probably the single most important item you could think about for preservation of food is your freezer. How are you going to power it? So, generator, if it's going to be a petrol generator, it's going to be on for a long time. When the fuel runs out, then what? You're going to have a lot of fuel to run the generator.
Stuart.
You're going to have a lot of fuel to run the generator for 2 weeks or more. So if you're going down the portable power station route, like a Bluetti or the other ones, there's various other sort of makes and models out there. I'll just use a Bluetti as an example. I haven't got one of them. But basically, what they are, they're a lithium battery with an inverter inside of them. So how are you going to charge it? I mean, most of these things are once they've run out of energy, that's it. They're just a dead weight. They're just a dead battery. So you need some form of powering it, charging it. So a good solar array would be probably one of the best solutions. A good solar array to charge your portable power station, and I would suggest you get at least 3 portable power stations. One on charge, one that's been charged and waiting to be used, and one actually powering your freezer. And then you can just keep rotating them through. And as soon as one sort of runs down, take it off, put it on charge, and your next one goes in line. Because as I say, without your freezer, you're pretty much stuffed as far as fresh meat or frozen veg goes. If you've grown it, if you've grown loads of frozen veg, if you've grown loads of veg, you've got to eat it there and then. I mean, fresh veg doesn't last forever. You can always can it.
Yeah,
and that's another
dehydrate it too.
Yeah, and that's another strand of training you've got to go through. There's not that many people that actually do their own canning, really. It's too easy, cheap, and convenient to just go down to the store and buy it. So, all right. So Daryl says there he's talking about ham radios. Yeah, I've got a ham radio. I've got my ham radio license. I can regularly get, and this comes with regular training as well. I'll get it out every Sunday and fire it up on a selection of different frequencies. And now I know what particular set of frequencies to use at what particular time of day, what orientation, what antenna, and what power to get most places in Europe. I know exactly what frequency to go on, time of day, and all this sort of stuff to get Sweden. I know where to go to get Italy. West coast of America is a bit of a gamble. It's always touch and go. But yeah, don't discount your CB radio. I had a couple of weeks ago, well, probably last month now, as Daryl says, I got over 500 miles on my CB. I was talking to a guy in Verona in Italy from the north of England. I wasn't using a conventional CB antenna. I made my own antenna, but I did get that far. What use that is, you could argue what use that is on the CB. Bit of a trial and an experiment, but if you're wanting to talk to someone else out of country, then about a situation, then that would be a good sort of little experiment.
A good tip: be a little overweight so you have fat reserves.
Yeah, that's well, yeah. I mean, yes and no, really. It's healthy to. It's not healthy to have less than 10% body weight all the time. You're probably better off having a bit more body fat, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20%, say. I'm no medical expert, but I've seen a lot of and heard of a lot of stories, survival stories, where, for instance, two fishermen have the boat sank. They're in the water. One's skinny, one's fat. The fat bloke survived because he was more insulated from the cold water. Well, it wasn't even cold. It was in the Caribbean somewhere. So, I've come across a lot of people who are starving in various countries who are on real meager rations, and they're still. You'd think, well, there's nothing. You're not starving. They're quite plump. So, yeah. So your core preps. Look at start thinking outside the box. Not just having a batch of food, a batch of water, a generator, and loads of fuel. You got to think of how you're going to employ these things and keep them going. And think to yourself, if it's not sustainable, then it's not sustainable. Basically, if you can't keep the ball rolling, it's going to stop.
Yeah.
It's all too easy as well to be in a nice sort of comfort zone in sort of relative peacetime, shall we say, and have all this stuff as a load of prep stored away as an insurance policy, and it gives you peace of mind. But when things do start turning sour, it stick to the plan. Basically, don't start flying off at different tangents, and everything goes to pot. Your core preparation, base preparation, also revolves around your own physical and mental well-being as well. So when it comes to core preps, make sure you're in make sure you are in full health. And if it's unavoidable to be in full health because you've had an accident or you've inherited or developed some sort of disorder, then it's no great shakes. But try and keep yourself as functional as possible. If you're on a medication, stock up on it. There is systems and ways to stock up on medication. And keep yourself fit and functional. Fit, functional, flexible. Keep your cardiovascular system in order. Eat healthily. Eat as organically as possible, because you never know what sort of crap goes into food these days, and the depletion of the soil and this sort of stuff. So keep functional. and keep your mental sort of awareness going. Don't start crumbling at the first hurdle. You've got to play these things out beforehand, train, and run through scenarios so that you sort of generally know what you're going to expect to see, hear, or come across.
Yeah.
And that's a very, very important thing as far as core goes. Keep yourself fit. Have a regular exercise regime. As Daryl says, fit, functional, and I haven't come up with another F yet, but suggestions welcome. Yeah. Fit and functional is definitely key, and that's the basis of everything really. It's no use having the perfect bug out bag, the perfect bug out system, bug out regime. If when it comes to it, you're on foot, you can't walk more than 300 meters without A, getting blisters, B, getting soaking wet through because you've chosen the wrong gear, or you've overextended and you strained your hamstring or your ankle and so on. So you've got to be fit and make it. People say, "Oh, they haven't got time to train," or I'll start work at 6 in the morning and finish at 5 in the evening. Well, everyone's got problems. Tough. You've got to deal with it, get on with it, and make time. Basically, it's 23. The old cliche: there's 23 hours in a day. Make it work. 8 of those hours sleep, and you can just work back from there. But anyway, I don't buy the answer that no one has time to train. I mean, I train Monday to Friday for at least 45 minutes, and I haven't got a gym. I don't go to a gym. I use my own weights. You can get creative. If anyone, yeah, exactly, Dario. There's no excuse for not training. If anyone wants to train to a high level, then to a high functional level, then think in terms of calisthenics, body weight training, press ups, squats, fast walking, long walks, running, fartlek training, there's interval training, all these sorts of training, hill training. It's all free. You can do it. You just go step outside and do it, and that's your basic core. Everything revolves around your body. Your physicality comes first. Fit, functional, and fortified. That's a good one.
Yeah, it's a good one.
And then when you do train, train with variety as well. Don't get stuck in the same training regime for more than, say, 12 weeks. Your body will get used to it. You got to vary your training so your body doesn't adapt to it. And what you're trying to do basically is make yourself as robust as possible. Make yourself as injury resistant as possible, so that when things do happen, then you're not pulling your muscle if you overstretch or slip or anything like this. You're making your knees, your kneecap, your tendons, your ligaments strong, tight, and able to handle some sort of beating or battering.
Yeah.
It's all, and and in the long run, if anything, FHTF doesn't happen or the disaster doesn't happen, then fine. You haven't lost anything. You've made yourself fitter. You've extended your life expectancy. And of course, with training, you start to think about you start to eat better because you're trying to repair yourself all the time.
Hey, Bob. Good to see you.
Hey, Bob.
Yeah, we can wait for you.
And one of the key aspects of training, on top of all this, is being able to self-recover in some way, shape, or form. The problem comes when you start to get to an age where you know your body starts to fail, and in that sort of instance, then you can't really do anything about that. But at least you've tried and you've led a fit and healthy life up to it. So, like I say, there's pitfalls everywhere, and if you're unfortunate enough to develop some sort of illness, ailment, or you've been in an accident, or you're born with something, then the key word is you've got to adapt, basically. And the whole basis of survival revolves around adaptation. If you can't adapt to fluid situations, developing situations, change of circumstance, for instance, then you're not going to survive as long without some sort of you'll fall at the third or fourth hurdle instead of the seeing it through, so to speak. And then with your base preps comes security.
Yeah.
So make sure everything's secure. You're always battling against intruders, burglars, the security of your own property, vehicles, house, friends, and so on. And as Bob says in previous videos, you're more likely to get become a victim of crime than any SHTF disaster or event, because crime is everywhere and it's now. Think about your security. So Durrell says work on your arm strength, leg strength, core, back. In many events, not only disasters but confrontations, you're going to start moving dynamically, quickly, and your back will be involved. And if you've got a weak back, you could quite easily put it out of action, really easily.
Yeah.
And it only takes, and even through. So going back to your preps in, say, the corner of the room, the garage, the loft, or whatever, make sure that your preps are in containers which aren't too heavy, so you're not going to hurt your back. Make sure you're adopting correct lifting techniques and this sort of stuff, because the last thing you want to do is you want to be completely prepped. You go upstairs to get the next kind of bucket of food or whatever. You lift it up and you slip a disc or something.
Sandy asked, what do you suggest for someone who can barely walk due to back injury?
Right. So, like I said, if you've got some sort of injury, ailment, or disability, or you develop some sort of disorder or disease, which means that you're not fully functional, then you've got to basically adapt, because the bottom line is, this is now plus and onwards to SHTF and beyond, is no one's bothered. No one cares about you. No one cares about me. No one cares about the next guy. To a certain extent, everyone just cares about themselves and their own little circle of friends. If you're on a bus, or if you're walking down the road, you have an accident, someone will probably help you, fine. But when it comes to your own sort of ailments, you're on your own, in your own little circle of friends and family. So the only thing you can really do is, if you can't physically do it, you got to adapt. So if you can't, what was the question? Was it have trouble walking? Can barely walk due to back injury.
Yeah.
Right. So if you can't walk due to back injury, I would suggest immediately, I'd think about getting a bicycle, so you can pedal. So if
you can use for your arms, you can use a dumbbell to get your arm strength up, and
so if you got
your shoulders, strength on your shoulders. too. So
Yep. So if you got some form of mobility issue, then a bike is easy.
swimming is easy too.
Electric bike, they're expensive, but it's another option. But I'd say, yeah, bike is definitely would be a good alternative option to walking, definitely, because you can travel 3 times faster, 3 times the distance, and get there 3 times quicker. So, yeah, I would suggest a bike. Other than that, what else can you do? You've got a mobility scooter, electric scooter that you sit on. Electric scooter. Some of them have got 25-mile range and so on. Small car, small vehicle, anything like that. But a bike is a really good option for movement, other than foot.
Yeah.
If someone was to suggest a horse or anything like that, if your back can be stable on a horse, then fine. But a horse comes with other risks and injuries. You got to feed the thing and all sorts.
Yeah, swimming is really good because you don't get the pressure on your back.
Yeah, definitely.
It takes off. The water takes off the weight on your back. So swimming is a good idea, and bikes and use dumbbells for your arms and shoulders.
Swimming is definitely a good one because it's if you go to any sort of rehabilitation facility, swimming will be a big part of rehabilitation for physical injuries. It's a non-impact event, basically. If you're trying to swim to get fit, then it's got to be a targeted sort of fitness regime. So you wouldn't swim to get fit at running because that just won't work. When you're swimming, for instance, you're in more or less a horizontal position. Your heart isn't working. Your cardiovascular system isn't working as hard because it isn't vertical. It isn't pumping the blood vertically all around your body. So just be aware of that one. You won't be as fit. If you're going to train for running, then run. If you're going to train for swimming, swim, and all this sort of stuff. But swimming is definitely good for mobility, rehabilitation. It strengthens the muscles, ligaments, the core, and gets your whole functionality of skeletal movement going.
Yeah. Hey, Vanessa Kitty, good to see you. Merry Christmas to you.
Bob says, can you post a link?
I did that now.
Right.
I had to remove the link from the top of the chat because it turned out to be a lot of odd people that I didn't recognize the name. So I removed it. So
right. I think Bob will find it funny as to what happened earlier when you said it.
Yeah. You're very welcome, Sandy.
Yeah, no worries, Sandy. We're all up here for. Oh, we go, Bob.
Good to see you, Bob.
You weren't here earlier, Bob, were you?
No, I've been in and out, but yeah, good to see you. It's been a while, fellas. I'm still over here in the Philippines, so.
Good, yeah. What
Good
time
morning.
is it there?
It's now, let's see, 5:14 a.m.
Right. Oh, right.
Mhm.
Good.
10:14 p.m. here, so.
9:15 p.m. here.
Yeah.
International audience. Yeah.
And I feel terrible, fellas, because it's 76 degrees Fahrenheit here, whatever that is in Celsius, and yeah, I got a little sunburn, and I'm getting a tan, and swimming in the outdoor pool.
Right.
I feel terrible.
Have you got beach plans for Christmas? Have you?
I've got what?
Have you got beach plans for Christmas?
No. Actually, the family's going to go to another island and do some beach stuff today, but I'm tired of the traffic, and I said I'll sit this one out. They're going to go over to Samal Island and spend the night, and
Right.
the traffic here is horrible. It's the holidays, guys.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Silly
Oh my
season
God.
kicked in.
Oh God. And you compile the holidays with 300,000 little motor scooters with side carts on them called a tricycle. They're unlicensed vehicles that go about 8 miles per hour. I'm like, it's comical because it's a motorcycle with a sidecar, and the guy's got the thing maxed out, and he's got like 12 Filipinos on the sidecar hanging on it.
Oh, Lord.
Going 3 miles an hour down a main thoroughfare. It's like, oh God.
Yeah,
So
I can
that's
imagine.
why I've been setting some of this stuff out, because the traffic's killing me, man. I just can't do it.
We've got higher winds, gale force winds here. Stuff blowing everywhere, and like everywhere else, everyone's just knocked off, and it's silly season.
Yeah.
PV, what do you say about the Dear Love Survival? Says Shadow, you and PV can set up an international preppers helpline.
International helpline, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Advertise it more, and this your Saturday night slot can be when everyone has a big phone in, for instance. Come on, ask questions, and people give comments and stuff, because there's only 3 or 4 of us at a time come up here. We're not experts in everything. If anything, it's good.
Everyone.
Good to just band about ideas and your own experiences and stuff.
It really is a learning experience, being prepared. There's always something else to learn.
Yeah, it's almost like an enhancement of every aspect of life rolled into one that you're trying to perfect. Yeah.
That is one
Well,
thing.
I agree with that, Dear Love Survival.
Well, that's one thing. Well, wife and I have discussed for here is canned goods stored up, because we do get storms here and things. Shit happens. So
Yeah.
we've got to work on that as soon as we can.
Yeah, I was talking about base preps and having a good core element of food and water and stuff like that, and rotating through, looking after it, managing it, and getting your meals done and the stuff, and not just plonking it in the corner and leaving it, but thinking about what you've got there, and forming some sort of daily menu or food from it. Here comes the hat.
What do we got there? What the heck is that?
Yeah, I'll tell you that, Shadow. You look completely different with that on. Well, yeah, keep it on. It's Christmas season. Yeah, it's only for a week or so. He's taking it off already. Look. I was walking around town earlier with my Christmas jumper on.
Hun, my wife's right over here. Hun, have you ever seen a Swede wearing a Santa Claus cowboy hat? Oh, it's got lights on it too. Oh God.
Oh, right. They flash.
Right on, man. Enjoy it. What the hell? Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Christmas
Santa Stetson hat.
Yeah.
I was looking at one of your videos just after you posted it, Bob. Must have been last week.
Oh, yeah.
When you flew over. You'd say it was an 11-hour flight?
Yeah, just to get to Korea.
Right.
Then 5 more hours to get from Korea to Davao City, and then from Davao, and then so it was like 16 hours just in the air. That's not including the airport time and all that
long
stuff.
trip.
Oh man, I was about ready.
Due
Oh,
to what? Anything went all right then? Did it? No lost bags or anything like that?
oh no, we did real well. Everything's arrived, but I was about ready to go out of my mind because I was just so stove up. You know, I'm 6 foot, and I get up and walk around in the airplane as much as possible. But still, I'm 60 years old. I'm 6 foot tall. When I get up, I walk. My wife over there, the little evil brown lady right there, when we were at the airport, yeah, she's pointing, she's devil horns. We were in the airport at Cebu from after all those hours of flying, and I'm stove up, and I'm walking along. She goes, "Hon, you walk just like Joe Biden." Oh my god! And what didn't I know it's off topic, but you got to hear the whole story. Okay, I decided to go find the smoking room, and we meet the airplane on this level of the airport, and the smoking room was up on the next level. So I take the elevator up one floor, go into the smoking room, light up, come back down, and I got a little bit turned around. And I asked one of the shopkeepers, "Where's the elevator to, where's the elevator?" And there's a fella there behind me, Filipino guy. They allow locals to come into the airport and work as temporary porters and assistants to earn some,
Right.
because foreigners tip,
Yeah.
so they can get a little bit of income for Christmas. So
Yeah.
okay. So okay, oh okay, there's the airport, and I'll help you, sir. I'll help you. So I go down one floor, and he approaches my wife first. Oh, Mom, I found him wandering lost up on the second floor. He couldn't find his way. That was just after my wife told me I walk like Joe Biden. I went, oh God.
Yeah, you might need a GPS to find your way out from the airport.
Oh my
Tagging
God.
you next.
From,
Oh man, I gave the fella a good tip, Christmas money and stuff like that, but it didn't help.
Yeah, it's a
My
long
wife's
trip
over there.
that.
My
And
wife's over there. Yeah,
sorry, go on, Bob.
my wife's grinning about all of it. I should turn
So
the camera around.
have you
Yeah.
you got no jet lag or anything like that? You all up to speed now?
Yeah, I'm good now. Yeah, I'm pretty used to the jet lag, but it's just the physical part of being, no nicotine, stuck in
Yeah.
a little chair. It's like, oh
Yeah.
man.
Up early and moving around, and yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, a little
It's
dehydrated and all that. It's
yeah.
just
Yeah.
it's not comfortable. And
Well, it's a lot of people don't realize how draining it is traveling, and you get
it's
to you can
I
almost take a
love this
day out,
place.
2 days out to recover. Some journeys, yeah.
Actually does. Yeah, a lot of people do, especially as I get older. It takes longer to recover. Yeah. Yeah, I
And
love this place, but to get here and get back home is the worst part. That's it.
I can imagine you going back after especially you going back. You think, oh, I don't fancy going back, and it's such a long
Oh
trip.
God. Yeah, it's yeah, we're gonna fly out what Christmas morning, is that it? In Hun? Christmas morning we're gonna fly out of here and go back home. And
Oh, Christmas Day,
yeah, the early morning, like somewhere, I'm not sure.
right?
She's got the itinerary, but
All right. Well, it should be quiet enough anyway. The thing is, all the any extra facilities might be closed. I don't know. Yeah, that's to be one to look at.
what's this? Dira Love Survival? No, that yeah, I've heard of the Philadelphia experiment. I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a portal experiment they allegedly did.
Yeah, I don't know about that
Could
stuff.
this system use anything that they have been experiencing with? Honestly, I'll tell you what I know about that sort of thing is
I don't know.
Skunk Works and DARPA generally are working on stuff which is, say, 50 years ahead of current off-the-shelf
easily.
stuff. So,
Oh, yeah, easily. By the time the Air Force unveils the aircraft, whatever it is, at Edwards Air Force Base is where they usually do that. It's been in the middle of the state of Nevada for years.
Yeah.
Years and years, you know.
Thing is, the all this technology that people are going on about, and they're light years ahead of this and light years ahead of that. At the end of the day, it's still using, the next generation of aircraft, which is due to come in another 20 years' time and so on, still using conventional jet engines. The core of the factory is they're still using jet engines. So where's all this new technology come from? It's it might be a different form of jet engine, like a ramjet type engine and stuff like this, scramjet, but
yeah, I hear what you're saying.
And it's still
a lot of that is they have to keep everything in common for the supply system. They make upgrades all the time with the fighter jets. In fact, I just saw one that Boeing makes. It's a much smaller, more compact airplane. It's about the size of the old F5 or T-38. It's
right, but more efficient and all this sort of stuff.
Right. Yeah.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's more
longer
efficient,
range.
more time on station, all that sort of stuff, range,
right.
and I can see, I can see things. You can generally see things how they're going to develop because you've got unmanned aerial vehicles autonomously on aircraft carriers. You've got electric planes are starting to be developed and this sort of stuff. And one good, really impressive. Off topic, but impressive development, especially in the aviation industry, is the A380-800 Airbus. It's massive, double-decker. The duration of that thing is just unbelievable, and the size of the thing is it puts 747 to shame. I think most 747s now they're tended to be sold off to the cargo industry these days.
Well, Boeing quit making the 747 last year, I think it was.
Oh, right. Yep.
Yeah, and then Airbus doesn't make any more of those huge airplanes anymore. They found out it's just not cost effective. They didn't sell that many, so they went
right.
Yeah.
Seems to be the.
Is it the
A380?
Airbus 380?
Yeah. Seems to be the key customer was the United Arab Emirates that bought all those, and British Airways.
Yeah, they've got stuff. They've got the money to put in all that fuel in there too. That's where the fuel comes from.
Yeah.
Dira loves survival. Can we trust FEMA camps? Yeah. Where else are you going to go?
There's been various things about FEMA camps. It started off with Alex Jones, David Icke. Basically, Alex Jones and Jesse Ventura did a piece on them saying, it's designed to keep people in, etc., etc., etc. Big question I've got is why haven't they used them for all these legal immigrants? If accommodation is a factor and all this sort of thing, they just sat there empty sort of places.
They do use FEMA camps for disasters. They probably do use the same FEMA tents and all that for all the millions of folks coming across the border. Yeah.
So Sandy says, do they have FEMA in UK? No, they don't have FEMA. There is, we have our version of the FEMA.
We don't have that here either.
It's not called FEMA. It's basically on an ad hoc basis, and what they do here in any sort of big disaster or event like that, it's all modular. So the British Parliament, they have Cobra, which is an emergency meeting in a specific location, Cabinet Office, briefing room Alpha. That's what Cobra stands for. And they have a gold meeting. The gold meeting is the key headshed elements of all the services: Army, Navy, Air Force, Police, Fire Service, Ambulance, and the Health and Safety Executive. Depends on how threat specific it is, and they formulate a plan. And it's basically there's no real land they can use. There's no we have army camps, RAF camps, and stuff like that, but they don't specifically use them for large scale events as such. It's all contract based response, basically, and that's like COVID. It was abused so much. Millions of pounds are flying around all over the place, and these contracts were just Mickey Mouse, abused so much.
And here in the States, we have a lot of old Air Force bases that are no longer active, and they do use those. They do use those hangars for people to, go stay in there. So, but as far as I know, there's no stable FEMA camps. It's all just like the UK. It's all modular. They arrive on a piece of land and start setting it up.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, here, all the old. So obviously, UK's limited with space. All the old army camps that are disused, the RAF camps that are disused, they are now they're either used as they've all been sold off, and they're either used as industrial transport hubs for storage containers, or they are race tracks nowadays. And the other ones which have been sold off for other private use, they're being used to house all these legal immigrants that are being rounded up and put into these centralized places where they can keep an eye on them, basically.
Until they wait for their long airplane flight back home. To
Rwanda. Eventually.
Right. I mean, honestly, if things get really desperate usually here in the States, it's because of tornadoes and floods and stuff like that.
Right.
I mean, if everything's wiped out, which happens, then where else are you going to go? If you don't have any relatives to stay with in a reasonable distance, you're going to have to go find some federal or state facility.
That's your only option you have in that case.
Right, so I've got to go, Shadow, Bob.
And, no problem.
Okay. Take care, Phoebe.
But I'll tell you one thing that happened earlier is we're about 45 minutes into the stream earlier on. I'm talking away with Shadow, and all of a sudden, all this Turkish porn starts coming onto the screen.
That's great.
I was just talking about the storage of food and stuff, and there's about 10 little screens popped up with all different sort of porn activity going on, and the bloke in the Santa outfit in the middle, thinking, "What's going on? Is this?"
And I missed
part of the show, Shadow.
I deleted that one.
Restart. So I look at my passwords, Shadow, and start changing things, and you never know. Infiltrated.
What I noticed before I checked the YouTube side, I saw that dude who did that. It said it was a raid, basically, from another channel.
Oh,
right. Right. Well, you're in control. You can quite easily stop it and restart it, which you did. So it's a good one. Yeah.
As soon as you stop it and delete it immediately, it will be no problem.
Yeah. Right. So, I'll bid you all farewell. Have a good Christmas and have a good safe trip back, Bob.
No, thank you.
Hope the temperature difference isn't too much. It will be, but I'm just saying that. It's obviously going to be, isn't it?
Yesterday afternoon, I was sitting on the front porch, not moving, no shirt on, nothing, and just sweats just rolling off me, man. It's like,
Right.
It's hot. It's hot.
Yeah.
Well, you're sweating like the Niagara Falls.
That's like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I'll catch you all in a bit and have a good one. And
Take
safe
care.
Yeah, take care.
Good Christmas. See you later, everyone.
See you later.
Mm.
Well, that
Yeah,
is the first time it happens to me. That it never happened to me before, so this is the first time, and
the first
that-
time.
yeah, that makes me nervous.
It seems like some people get hit with those things again and again and again. You know.
Take care,
Good morning.
Nancy. Stay safe,
Mhm.
and God bless, and Merry Christmas.
Yeah, I haven't spent too much time online. We've got a TV over there that I just talk into the remote, and it goes directly to the video that I'm looking for. So I put on music a lot of times, but I've been outside doing some gardening, and today I'm gonna probably use some soapy water, and everything outside is concrete more or less, and I'll use some soapy water to scrub some of the stuff down since the house has been left more or less vacant, you know.
Yeah. Your plants you showed me in that bucket that you had planted, those grow really big.
Yeah, they spread way out. I've still got to get with Jin's mom and pay her for those.
Yeah.
You know, it was one of those circumstances where we're all at a family get together, and I showed her a picture. Can you get me some more of those plants? And then the plants showed up, and she didn't receive payment yet. And I want to make sure I get her the money.
Yeah.
You know, it'll come in handy for her because it's Christmas time. So
yeah.
You know.
Are they that plant popular in Philippines or? I guess that one is easy to grow too.
They are, yeah. Because I planted. You saw how I planted a couple of them in that one section of the flower beds, man. And in 1 year, they just took over. Which is nice. Which is nice because out in the front of the house at the street level, it's full of carabao grass and weeds and stuff like that. And I put a bunch of them out at that area to where I'm hoping that they'll grow out and they'll choke out all the weeds and cover up the construction guys who built this place. There's a lot of broken concrete in the soil and construction garbage left behind, and
it seems to be pretty common to leave broken concrete and other things after they finish the building.
Yes, it is. Even our house in Seattle, they left behind a bunch of stuff after remodeling the house, and that's a pain in the butt because I found out where the ants were coming from. It's because they threw a bunch of wood underneath the deck, and then they put wood underneath the. Have you ever seen that fabric that stops weeds from growing? They put some timbers down, and they threw that fabric over it, and they buried it in beauty bark. And that's where my ants were coming from. Was from that. That's left behind. It's crazy.
Yeah. That could be a good idea to store some concrete.
Store some concrete? You mean bags of concrete? I guess.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that must be what he means.
Yeah.
you got to store it in a dry place. So if that stuff gets any moisture at all, it just hardens up.
Yeah, it means bags of concrete.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that can be useful.
Yeah, it could be.
You can create a lot of good stuff with it.
Or you could even pour it out, make it into a catch basin for like a water cistern to catch rain too.
You can make benches, tables, whatever you like.
Yeah, you might be able to see or not, but right across the street, they're building another house across the street here, and all the buildings here are made of concrete. Wood is too expensive, and I'm watching these guys build this, and they're pretty damn good, And I don't know. You probably can't see it, but you see the red part right there. That's the roof.
I can see the red part.
That's the beams for the roofing. It's the same as mine. They're organized. They got one guy down on the ground cutting the steel to length. Then another guy and two guys up on the roof. One guy is an assistant, and the other guy is a welder. And I can tell by when he welds, he knows what he's doing. He's nice, steady. That steady beat. Yeah, he knows what he's doing. And these are strong houses, man. Steel reinforced concrete. What's up, babe? Oh, that's fine. Oh, okay. Okay, babe. Everyone's starting to wake up.
Yeah, it's early in the morning for you, Bob.
It is. Yeah, it's it's 5:42 a.m. here.
Yeah.
Yeah, here in just a bit I'll go. I've got some bushes to trim, and then I'm gonna be cleaning around the house, sweeping with soapy water, sweeping the concrete and get it cleaned up. And there's always something to do, but
yeah, there are lots of. Well, I agree with that. Not many preppers talk about prepping and storing concrete.
Yeah, that's true.
For that, you need a house to store that. Apartment would be a little bit more difficult. Yeah, you can build a lot of things with concrete.
Mm-hmm.
Tables, benches.
I recall one joker here on YouTube. Bob, fill sandbags and line or underneath all of your windows. So when people shoot at your house, really? You think my flooring is going to withstand that much work, that much weight? Come on, dude. Wake up. He's Uncle Al suggested that. I said, okay, how about you buy the sandbags, you come over and you fill them up and you set them up in my house. How's that sound to you? No.
Nope.
Nope. But you want me to do that? No, not going to do that.
It would take too long.
Oh, man. No.
Too much hard work.
Yeah. Plus, it would just collapse all the flooring in my house,
Yeah,
We're
probably.
not gonna do that. Yeah.
In that case, you need to reinforce the floor.
We're not doing that.
That would take even more work.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, if somebody wants the house that bad, give it to them. Have it.
Yeah. And besides, why would you have sandbags that low? I wouldn't.
No.
You would have them at least at chest height or
Yeah, at least.
waist height. At
Yeah.
least. The, if somebody's shooting at you, the sandbags on the floor would not be a good use.
I know.
It's useless.
You're still above ground. Yeah.
Yeah, you're still
You're
above
still
ground.
Well,
And it's a lot of weight. A filled sandbag weighs probably 10 kilo.
Oh yeah, they're heavy. I filled a lot of them when I was in the military, and I mean a lot of them.
Yeah.
I think everybody in the military has to go through that when you're a lower rank. You go fill sandbags. Oh, great.
Wonderful. Not again. I did that yesterday. Well, now you do it again.
Yeah. And the thing that was a joke for us was they'd have us fill up a bunch of sandbags,
Hey,
stack them
McBean.
all up, and in a certain, in an angle like this when you to go inside of a building. Okay, and then they got to stay there for so long until the exercise is over, and then we'd have to pick the sandbags back up, drive them out into the desert, dump all the sand out of them, and then they'd kick off another exercise 2 months later, a month later, and we have to do it all over again. Like, oh God.
Yeah.
Hey, McBean. Merry Christmas to you too. Yeah. Do you know if the construction guys are working today or no?
They work 6 days a week.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they do work.
Only rest on Sunday.
Yeah, they don't. These guys out here, they work 6 days a week. The only day off is Sunday. There's so few jobs in this country that they're grateful to have a job.
Yeah. Hey, Warren. Good to see you, brother.
It's already getting hot. It's coming up on 80 degrees right now. Sun's just now coming up. Hello, Warren. Good morning.
Yeah, Warren has been in the Philippines for a while. And he uploaded a lot of videos from his trip there.
I haven't uploaded many, just a few, because I mean I've been coming to this country for 20 years now, so most of the stuff I'm used to it.
Yeah.
No, it's nothing new. Yeah, Gary and I, he's an Englishman. They're getting ready right now, and we were having a cigarette and we're discussing that. Gary, do you realize that we've both been coming to this country for over 20 years now? Get this, though. Get this. Okay. It doesn't make sense to me. Okay, there's rebel war in the city of Marawi up north. There's people selling their bodies on the streets at night. It's out in the open. It's totally legal to publicly urinate, just piss anywhere you want to. It's totally legal. But if you light up a cigarette in public, you're going to get busted. Like, what the hell,
What?
man? Yeah, it's the truth. It's a truth. When Gary and I go have a cigarette, we have to come out and go way around the buildings and in behind stuff and have a cigarette, or else when the police catch you, they're going to fine you like $30. Second time is around $100. Third time, you go to jail.
Oh,
You can do
Lord.
whatever. You can pee in public, out on the city streets, on the sidewalks, wherever you want to. I see it all the time. But if you smoke a cigarette in public, you're going to get nailed.
That's kind of weird and odd to me.
Yeah, it is. All right, I'm going to probably bounce out of here, Shadow. It was good to see you guys again.
Yeah.
Still alive, and I'm a little bit suntan, so it's a
Yeah.
rough life here. It's a rough life here, man. It's rough. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, my wife's going like this. Shadow lives in Sweden, hon, but he likes the cold. He likes the freezing temperatures. Yeah. All right, take care of yourself, my friend.
And I'm
Good to
pretty
see
like
you
a
again.
corpse.
Okay. Bye for now.
As I prefer it. Take care, Bob.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Yeah, that was interesting. Well, would it be possible to build a structure with rainwater? If you mix it with concrete, it would be possible. So I don't think it would be that different. Water is water. To build a structure with only water would be a little bit different and different and completely difficult. More like impossible. Like if you have a frame filled with concrete, yeah, you need to have a frame when it comes to concrete. Never heard anyone do that before, but unless you have saved rainwater, you can fill the frames that way, or if you let it pour it down, that would take basically forever. Well, in that case, it must need to be a lot of rain. Raining cats and dogs, basically. Like automatic building. That might be a good idea, automatic building. But you probably need to mix it with water. Mix it so it mixes well, or otherwise you get water on top and concrete on the bottom. Okay, I didn't know that. Thank you for that info, Sandy. I appreciate that. You are probably right. I didn't know that. Yeah, that can be a little bit of a tricky part to get it right. See, you all learn something new. That's awesome. I'm very familiar with concrete and cement, but I don't. Well, I haven't used it, so I'm not that. I don't have that knowledge, but I know I had mixed plenty of concrete in my time. I haven't, so. But I know one thing: you need to get the mix right. But it depends on what you are going to use it for. For flooring, yeah. With mixers too, yeah. It depends on how much you need to make. Let's say if you need to make use cement or concrete for a larger project. Well, not too big, but let's say you need to 2 bags of cement or concrete um, for one batch. That would be pretty heavy to mix by hand. So it's good to have a mixer. That makes everything easier.
Jag kom till dig. Jag måste plocka bort saker från soffan. Du får gå upp här så länge, men jag måste plocka bort innan vi kan lägga oss.
For our bug out locations. That's good. You may. Yeah, that would be a good idea. Maybe we have to reinforce it for security. Well, it's when it comes to cement or concrete, especially concrete. What I know is it's good to have it reinforced. It gets stronger. The construction will be much stronger if you reinforce it. Yeah, sandbags and people. Yeah, it doesn't hurt to have it reinforced, but normally sandbags will do just fine. But it depends, of course, what cal that are used.
Jag tycker inte ni har fått tillräckligt. Bra. Det ska vi se.
And it depends on the area how and how large the space is. I read somewhere in a book, but I don't remember what book. If you are going to use sandbags, especially if you have a house, you can stock up with sandbags, filled sandbags, to reinforce the basement. I don't have any bug out location, no. I wish I had, but I don't. I don't have any. I don't have that financial status, so I can have a BOL. If you are going to get one, you need the money for it. So that is said, if you have a summer house or I have an idea of a place as a bug out location, and that place is in the mountains in Wales. Okay, the mountains are good. As long as you have access to water close by, that would be preferably. Yeah. Well, probably in Canada and US, you probably need to own the land to have it. If you have a vacation house or summer house, you can use your summer house as a BOL. If it is on a remote. In Wales, you can get an acre for about 10,000. Yeah, an RV or a motorhome or a caravan is a good idea. But of course, that takes you. Um, you need a car to move it. It takes a car to move it. So, for if you have a caravan, yeah, that is not a good idea, Sandy. So I agree with about that one. Hey, G Mama grows out in the garden. Good to see you. Merry Christmas. Well, that is a good question. Who owns the mountains? I have no idea. In an emergency, would the owners chase us out of their land? Yeah, in US, it would be probably a risk for that. Yeah, I agree with you, Sandy, about that one. Merry Christmas, G-Mama.
Jag går och lägger mig. Sitter inte för länge.
Nej då.
Hälsa folk god jul och gott nytt år och sånt där.
Ja, jag ska göra det.
Ytterst den här klänningen var stopp.
Yeah, a motorhome is a great idea. Yeah. Believe me, in the U.S., someone owns the mountain. Yeah, in U.S., yeah. And by the way, the missus says, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you guys. Thank you, Liselot. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's his creation. Hey, Adonair. Good to see you. How are you doing? I hope your week has been great, Adonair. And thanks for the thumbs up. I appreciate that. We need to head to the mountains. Yeah. If you can find a spot, a suitable spot. Well, that's good, dear. Dear Love Survival. Now, in UK, it's probably a little bit different. People, corporations, or the government own everything in the US. Though I know it's his creation and everything is his. Yep. Thank you, Sandy. I appreciate that. Well, that is a really good question. I don't have any idea about that. We might should ask them the question and see if we can have any answer to that. Black's Law Dictionary. Human definition, sea monster. That was a really odd definition. The government of the US thinks that we are here to follow what they say. It serves the wealthy. Who think that we exist to provide them with more wealth, in my opinion. You get a point there, Sandy. Sea monster. One that cannot own on inherit property. Okay. Yes, Andy, I agree with that. It's interesting. Yeah, probably. Well, guys, I promised my wife not to stay up too late, so I think I wrap things up now, guys. And I will see you next time. Next week. Yeah. Yep. Next week. Same time, same channel. And I'll let you know if then I have to move my stream to Friday again. But I don't know anything yet. Yeah, Sandy, good night to you. And Merry Christmas to you as well. Hey, Joseph, good to see you. I'm going to wrap things up now. I promised my wife not to stay up late because I have things to do tomorrow as well. So take care, stay safe. God bless, and Merry Christmas, guys. Okay, Joseph. It happens sometime. It happens to me. But I have to end this stream now, so. But I see you next time. And I'm out.